only me that wants to wrap around your dreams. And have you any dreams you'd like to sell? Dreams of loneliness like a heartbeat drives your mind, and the stillness of remembering what you had and what you lost. Yeah, thunder only happens when it's raining. And prayers only love you when they're playing. Yeah, women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Zocalo Zoom. My name is Kari Ramirez, and I'm the co-founder of Envoys for Humanity. And we have another great, amazing packed night with so much talent to share while we write postcards to unregistered voters in Texas. And so to get started, just a little postcarding business. If you are here for the first time, I will be putting some information in the chat, and that will give you how to get addresses. And there's also a quick training slide if you want a little bit more information on how to get started, examples of writing and things like that. And if you need addresses, whether you're new or returning, then you're going to fill out the link that I'm going to put in the chat, and we will get you your addresses via email. And so I'm going to post all of that in the chat. If you're unfamiliar with the chat, if you are on computer and you hover down at the bottom, a little chat icon will come up, and that will give you all the information that you need. And then you can also reach out to any of us. You can reach out to Scott, myself, Sharon, or Carla. And if you have any postcarding questions, just let us know. We're here for you. And on that note, what else? So if you're on mobile, you just hit your phone or your app, your tablet, and then it should pop up to do the chat. So that's how you can get in touch with us. For the most part, most of the evening, just for the speakers and the artists to respect them, you guys will be on mute. And so feel free to use that chat to talk to one another, to cheer on our artists. This is new Zoom etiquette for waving. So if you want to clap for any of our artists tonight or a speaker, do jazz hands, because how fun is that? So why don't we just do that? So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and pass off to my fellow co-founder, Scott Bramer, and he is going to get this night started.
Thank you, Kari. Well, we are I guess this is the last one for July. We've been doing this June and July. I usually like to start off by reminding folks, especially those who haven't been with us before, that Envoys for Humanity was founded to connect volunteers with each other and to help empower you guys through a supportive community that we're all working together to build. It's a process, and we're so excited to be involved in this process in this crazy time. It's so therapeutic to have something that feels positive to do from day to day. So it's just, I feel blessed in that sense to have taken on this journey and to be so immersed in it. And I think that's kind of what we're building, is giving people the opportunity to do something helpful and to maybe ease some of the pain of what we're all going through right now by being so immersed. So thanks again for your trust and faith and getting behind our postcarding initiative. We really have some of the best data that's available in the country as far as targeting DEM likely folks to write these postcards to. So we really feel our postcarding initiative is spot on with regards to being effective. So that is part of our good fortune, and so glad we're in this together. We have with us tonight our house artist, so to speak. I hope that's all right if I refer to you that way, Amanda. She's been so just so wonderful to get to know over this last month. Amanda has been working on a project to amplify the voices of the child and adult, but particularly the children, immigrants and refugees who have been illegally detained and treated so poorly. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Amanda to say a couple of words. She'll bring us up to date about the latest plight of the children and give you a few words of how she approaches her art and advocacy simultaneously.
Sure. Thank you, Scott. So yeah, as you said, I'm Amanda. I've been painting for like a year and a week. Almost every day. I'm on like 336 or something. And you can see I'm actually connected twice. So this is my desk. And then this is like me as a person. So yeah, most recent news that I know of, there were hotels in Arizona and Texas that were being used to hold both family groups, including children and unaccompanied children. And the ACLU has sued and won a suit that is stopping them from putting them in hotels and then immediately deporting them without ever getting a court date, which seems like you shouldn't need to sue to do that, but you do. So Hilton has agreed that they're no longer going to do that, but that does raise the question of where did they put them next? And we don't know. So that's kind of where we are with detention right now. They've missed several deadlines to get all children out of detention, and the judge has said that there will be no more family separation without consent, which unfortunately means that the parents are being told that they can either give up their children and they can get out of custody, or they can not give up their children and they all remain incarcerated together. So still a lot of work to do, unfortunately. But.
Yes, and thank you so much, Amanda, for amplifying that with your wonderful art. I love the phase. I call it a phase. I don't know if that you're kind of going through. I suspect you have ebbs and flows in how you approach your art, but just the series, if we could call it that, of the last week or two, I've been just so psyched about the colors, the mandala that you did the other day, and some of the turtles, and it really, I think, in spite of the ugly plight of the children, the vibrancy and whatnot also brings hope, and the story that you write on each one through the sworn testimonies, just brings that truth just right to the black and white of the page. And we will be checking in with you throughout.
I'm doing a mask today. It's a COVID related quote. So sorry to anyone who didn't want to hear about COVID today.
We love whatever moves you. It's going to be for our betterment. So we would not question the artistry of any of our artists. And speaking of that, we have some other artists that are going to be joining us for the first time tonight. And we're going to take we're gonna have a quick word with Sierra Woodruff. Sierra's mom, Stacy, is typically with us. I've got a lot of balls in the air at the moment. I think Stacy's with us, but in any case, Sierra, are you, go ahead and say something for us, and that'll bring that cam over to you if you're unmuted.
Right here.
Hey, there you are. Great to see you there at your mom's side. And you guys over in Flagstaff, we love that we're spread across the country, and we've got entertainment in Austin that by way of Great Britain. We've got art and on the East Coast with Amanda and with you guys up in the high desert. So tell us just just a word or two about what you got cooking up there for us, Sierra.
Right now I am just decorating the back side of my postcards and the front side of some of them as well. I really enjoy mountains, so I've been doing that as well as kind of some floral patterns, I guess. But yeah, I just kind of like to make the postcards a little more special by adding some art in addition to the script that you guys gave us.
Can you hold one up for us?
Yeah, can you see my mom's camera or mine?
Oh, let's see here. We're going to get better as we move on through the evening at pinning back and forth as far as, which camera goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry for the technical.
I think it's under Stacy.
There we go. Nicely done. Oh, you guys are set up so beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome. I just love the colors and so original. And the mountain scene there is just out of sight. You were so fortunate to have you with us, Sierra. And I know we're going to have your brother play music for us next week. And we're looking forward to having you back next week when we do our youth jam, our Zocalo Zoom takeover from younger folks. It's going to span a pretty big age from like 10 up to, I think, 29, 30. And you're going to be just really helping us hold down the fort with that amazing work. I would like to emphasize that you don't have to be as wonderful of an artist as both Amanda and Sierra to make an impact on these cards. And we're going to have Kristy show us some simple ways. And Kristy is an amazing artist too, but she is going to show us how some of us who, how we can use pens and very simple designs to bring art into all of our postcarding efforts, and without taking a lot of time. These cards that you guys are creating are like, they should be framed, and these people are going to be so fortunate to get them. And I know it's going to go a long way towards getting people to vote, this kind of soulful approach. So thank you so much for joining us, Sierra. Let's see if we have Kristy here. Kristy Woods, are you on deck with us? If you are, just chime in with your mic.
Hello. Hi.
There she is. Hey, how's it going, Kristy?
Good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. I was so blown away at your work, and so glad that we happened to cross each other just here in the last 48 hours and were able to get you on board. Your style is so creative, and it's kind of, at least with your postcards, you kind of take a minimalist kind of approach. And I thought that would be something that you might be able to talk to the rest of the team with and inspire us to undertake some of this kind of approach.
Yeah, I'm not much of a drawer, so if I only have to draw in like a little square, then it works out for me.
Yeah, it's just such a great strategy. Can you bring that back up for another second? Just hold that for us, because that is, it's just such a smart design. Look at that, you guys. I mean, we take that word high, and just, you know, she's got a sunshine and some lines for the grass and a few little puffy clouds, and it's like that. To me, that just makes such a great impression. I know, how long did it take to make a little drawing like that? Once you probably get faster as you go along.
It takes like 5 seconds. Yeah, now that I just do it by routine. It doesn't take long at all to do these. So I've gotten through I did my 30 on Sunday, like super fast. And then I got 30 more for today. That
is so awesome. Well, I don't want to take the spotlight away from you, but I want to show, if y'all can see, I don't know if this is kind of my style here, and it's just a simple drawing that I do. It has just a guitar, and you know, just there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, you'll find your own little, if people can find their own little kind of niche like that, like, you know, their own kind of design, and you discover it, you might borrow an idea from somebody else, right? And I like the way you had on your Twitter feed the little, you know, what did it say? Making art in squares, you know? And I was like,
oh yeah, because I like to do Instagram art, so it's always in a square, and so I'm always just used to doing things in a square.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we are so glad to have you here, and you really bring the spirit of pushing your, you know, just like we have heard from Amanda, you know, who has been just working so hard for the last year, you know, at painting, and she wasn't really, you know, she was more into drawing, and in class and trained in drawing quite well, but then she launched into painting so much a year ago. Now she's done 300 and something paintings and is inspiring people all over the world, you know, through her art. And so it's that pushing of our boundaries, as Kari likes to say. You know, you kind of find an area that you're comfortable with, and you kind of push on that a little bit, and next thing you know, you get comfortable. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Kristy.
No problem.
And
thank you.
Great to introduce you here to Sierra and to Amanda, and we'll look forward to working a lot more with you as we move forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
So you guys, with that being said, I want to talk for just a second as I introduce our musical guests for the night. We have the good fortune to have tonight with us Beat Root Revival, which consists of Ben Jones and Andrea McGee. Ben and Andrea are from Great Britain. He's from England. She's from Ireland. And they have, I think that it's been about 3 or 4 years that they've been in the States. And they came over and hit the road right off the bat, and they wound up settling in Austin, and have had all kinds of wonderful adventures, and have really gained quite a strong following. You're going to be blown away with what they do. They have Celtic kind of influences that, you know, probably is baked into the DNA of Andrea, since she is from that neck of the woods. And I don't know about Ben's family. You know, I don't know if maybe they might have had Celtic and kind of influence in that. But in any case, they have had the good fortune to connect with amazing people in the industry. They have recently produced some songs with a guy by the name of Paul Leary, who produced Sublime and produced Slightly Stupid, two really just amazing kind of reggae tinged type of modern bands. And they've also connected with Brian Wilson's team from the Beach Boys fame, and they are going to really blow your minds tonight. We are so lucky to have them here. So without further ado, let's see if we can pin that video over on our special musical guests.
If you say hello, you'll pop up and we can find
Right
you.
on.
There we go.
We're just like dummies.
We're Zoom virgins. That's what it is. You see.
Not quite.
You get lost kind of in the queue, and then once you say something, your face pops up. So we're good.
I
Well,
see.
thank you for that lovely intro, Scott, and it's nice to be joining you all this evening. I want to say as well, I actually, just to put an extra little feather in my cap, I have actually done some postcards because I'm fortunate enough to be the partner of two strong women. I have my great musical partner Andrea, but I also have my romantic partner is Kelly Mickwee, who I believe you guys had on a couple of weeks back, and so we did some postcards and sent them out. We made the grave mistake though of buying 20 paint by numbers, and that sounds really good if you're actually good at painting.
Or after you do 5.
No, it was fun. No, but it was when I'd started to realise that there was a good chance that Andrea's niece and nephew could do a much better job of the painting part of it than me, and I had 30 years on them. But nevertheless, it was nice to be a part of the cause and nice to send them out.
So thank you so much for having us. Yeah, you're correct. I'm from Ireland. Ben's from England. We haven't quite lost our accents yet, but we've been in Austin for 6 years, and very grateful to now call it our home. And yeah, let's kick off with some music.
So yeah, this is a song that we did on our second record that we made. This is a song called "Before It Gets Too Late."
I've been upside down along, crossing round the bend, wondering how this all got started and just how it's gonna end. We made our excuses so we both should know the score. There's only so much fighting talk before we declare war. So you go your way and I'll go mine. Maybe our paths cross somewhere down the line. You may choose to call it fate. I say seize the day before it gets too late. Every passing signal says to walk the other way. Don't go falling backwards, that's the way you wanna stay. All these aching heartbeats are still beating out of time. You can't change the rhythm just by pressing on rewind. So you go your way and I'll go mine. Maybe our paths cross somewhere down the line. You may choose to call it fate. I say seize the day before it gets too late. Falling in love gets you so damn mad. Looks so good when it hurts so bad. So make it right before you feel too sad. May just be the best you've ever had. So you go your way and I'll go mine. Maybe our paths cross somewhere down the line. You may choose to call it gets too late. Before it gets too late. Before it gets too late. Before it gets too late.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I love that this is the Zoom applause. I've done a couple of like happy hour Zooms, and they try and unmute for all the applause, and it just keeps coming in like. Da, da, da.
One of my friends, it was her 50th birthday just recently, and we did a surprise Zoom call where everyone was kind of coming in, and we all tried to sing Happy Birthday. It was the worst cacophony you've ever heard in your life. If you want to really torture someone, just have 50 people on Zoom at the same time trying to sing Happy Birthday to someone. It's it was something special.
Is everything sounding okay? You want to give us a thumbs up if we're all okay? Good. So we're going to continue with our most recent studio album that you mentioned that we worked with Paul Leary on. The title track of it is a song called Up, and we're gonna play you the title track right now.
There's a rattle in my bones. I hear the whisper in between the clouds, like a hand upon my throat. No backing out, this world is gonna show you what it's really made of. Swallow your doubt, wake up, it's only a matter of time. I wanna go up. Take me so far away. I wanna go up, up, up. Take me up, lift me high today. It's not a hill, there's a mountain yet to climb, and we all must find a way. In this prophecy that's made me and I grow stronger every day. Reflections that time erases, pinnacle that seems so big we never make it. Standing behind those faces, dreams that the eye cannot see. I wanna go up, lift me up, take me so far away. I wanna go up, 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 take me up, lift me high today. Face is the mirror of the mind. In every corner, persuasions you'll find, magnetizing you and I. Is this vortex of mine? I wanna go up, lift me up, take me so far away. I wanna go up, 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 take me up, lift me high. I wanna go up, lift me up, take me so far away. I wanna go up, 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 take me up, lift me high today. Thank you.
True story.
Yeah, it's one of those things you end up saying after every song in the end of it. It's like,
Yeah.
true story. It's This is when I wrote about climbing a tree. True story.
I have realised that, obviously the only shows that we've been doing are live shows, and I've watched them back, or any Zoom or whatever, and I say, yay! After every song, and I'm trying really hard. And it's just because I'm not used to the silence. So I'm like, I clearly feel really awkward inside, so I'm like, yay! Woo!
On my solo ones at the end of every song, I think I end up going, whoo!
It's like, and I've consciously tried to stop doing it, and I can't stop it. It's like...
It's to fill that void, isn't it?
Yeah.
The please clap for me, love me. Oh, I have to give myself some applause. So to go from a song that sounds as though it has some kind of meaning to it to another song that is the opposite of that. This is the most nonsense I possibly could have ever written. I was on a train journey in the UK a few years ago, and for those of you who have visited the UK, you can empathise here. But for those of you who haven't, I want to let you in on a spoiler. The UK doesn't have really great weather, believe it or not. It's one of those, you know how we end up complaining about having over 100 days of 100 degrees at the height of summer here. Well, it's like we have 8 months of rain, so it's like it's grey and it's raining, and then we get like about a month where the sun will decide to sort of sometimes shine on us, and the hottest day will be the first day when everyone decides that they're all going to go to the beach and they're not going to wear any suntan lotion, and it ruins the rest of the summer for them because they all get horrendously burned.
I remember being so confused when we first came here and we were setting down our roots in Austin, that like people were saying, oh, it's so miserable in the summer, it's so miserable, and I was like, we associate like misery and miserable weather with rain, and we were like, what? It's sunny, it doesn't rain all the time. And now I totally get it. And I say it, and my parents and everybody at home is like, "What?" Yeah, they all think that we're living some kind of vacation all the time. But then they don't understand the idea of looking out the window and it feeling almost like, Superman's Fortress of Solitude looked really, really nice. But the thing is, apparently, it was full of kryptonite or something like that. It's that idea of looking out the window. It looks so beautiful, but it's So anyway, I was stuck at this railway station, and on a grey and rainy day in England. That we call Wednesday, and there were a ton of people on the train station. Like 3 trains hadn't come and they hadn't arrived, so there was a lot of really kind of uptight yet stiff upper-lipped British people, which you'll probably understand is that we're not the most expressive of people. So what we do is we just allow these feelings to boil up inside of us until it gets to a point we're waiting for someone to have a reaction so that we can turn around and react with everybody else, but no one was doing it. So you had a ton of impatient people. So by the time the train finally pulled into the station, it was almost as if Taylor Swift had arrived giving away free money. It was like they rushed the train and every seat got filled and there's people standing in the aisleways, and I was lucky enough to get a seat on one of the four top tables. And there was these 2 young ladies in front of me and a dude next to me, and the 2 young ladies were having a really deep and profound conversation, and the guy kept trying to get in on the conversation, like desperately, and he was saying a bunch of things that probably the rest of the guys on this Zoom call can appreciate. It's those things where in our head we think that we're the funniest person in the room, and yet actually we're only the funniest person in our seat. It's like, but these young ladies, amongst their many superpowers of being the superior gender, was that they were able to just block out any of the nonsense that he was saying to them all the time, until he kind of went one step too far, and he said something and their conversation stopped, and one of the girls just turned to him, and you could see this sort of look of anticipation on his face, almost like a puppy that's about to be rewarded with a treat. And he looked up, and the girl just looked at him and she went, "Oh, can't you just sit there and be quiet?" And the whole train just went silent. It was like one of those moments where you kind of wish the ground would open and swallow you up. You're just like, "Oh, this is so uncomfortable." But the beauty of it being another dude was that he had absolutely no filter and no awareness of this, and so he just went back to his sort of lightning fast stupid quips as if nothing had happened. It really has nothing to do with the song that we're going to play you, other than the fact that I'd been sitting and writing in my notebook the whole time while I was sitting there, trying to be like invisible, and all this nonsense came out just on the page, and I then put a tune to it. So this is called "Sit Me Down, Woman Blues."
empty now. I used up all its solutions and I have returned to take a bow. I now stand here before you, just displayed in black and white. Oh, you can dissect all of my memory and throw away what you don't like. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm like grooving in my seat over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I think at times like these, sometimes what you really need is just a song that's complete nonsense and a load of drumming. When we're all stuck inside and there doesn't seem to be any end in sight to it, because I know there's folks on here from all over, aren't there? As in from not just obviously in Texas, obviously you're in California, I believe, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
I saw someone
I'm in
pop
California.
up and from New York and stuff. It's like, I don't know, but obviously as the Texans on here will know, we've in Austin particularly, Travis County, they haven't been the best at adhering to the staying indoors rules. So our numbers have gone up so rapidly and so sort of frighteningly again. It's just that thing where it does feel like we've been inside for a very, very long time.
And we have.
You know, it is. It's that, you know. Oh, someone from Southampton. This is amazing.
Yay!
See, this is the part. I mean, you'll probably all appreciate this because obviously you've been doing these the meetups on here so weekly, and like we're novices to the Zoom conversation thing. So that's what's so amazing. But I love seeing that everyone's from so many different places. It's incredible. You know, it's like it reminds us that we're not all alone in all of our endeavours. You know what I mean? As in politically and humanely and whatever. You know, it's like we're not alone. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's a nice segue into this next song, I believe.
Yeah, she thinks I talk too much. I don't know what she's talking about.
Not at all. Only sometimes. Not right now. This is another song from our most recent studio album that we made. One of the most common questions that Ben and I always get asked, we got asked on Saturday on our stream, was, are we a married couple?
Oh, yeah.
And we're definitely not. But in the nicest way possible. We started this journey off as a romantic couple, but very quickly realized that we're much better friends and we're much more like brother and sister. And rather than giving up on it and walking away when it didn't work out, we realized we had something special that we both believed in without sounding corny.
It was called an O1 visa. We had to maintain it.
True that, but also we had a great response to our music, and even to this day we still get that response. So I think we fought for it because everybody else was fighting for us as well. So we made the transition from being a romantic couple into just being a musical couple, and this was one of the songs that was kind of born out of all of that period of time, and it's on our brand new album, and it's called Ready for Change.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Watch your heart break, and all these words that you keep throwing my way, I will learn from mistakes, 'cause I'm ready for change. Yes, I'm ready to find my way. Oh, I'm begging for strength. I can't hide behind this window of my mind no more.
Oh, the echo of this pain spins me round the revolving doors. On this intimate break, I will tremble and wait for my spirit
To rise from the floor.
Please don't turn to me when you're hurting, and
I won't turn to you.
But there's a part of me that I'll always love.
That's true. That I'm ready for change. Yes, I'm ready to find my way. Oh, I'm begging for strength. I can't hide behind this window of my mind no more. When all you wanna do is feel good and feel right. When all you wanna do is feel good and feel right. When all you wanna do is feel good and feel right and heal yourself from the inside. But I'm ready for change. Yes, I'm ready to find my way. Oh, I'm begging for strength. I can't hide behind this window of my mind. Yes, I'm ready for change. Yes, I'm ready to find my way. Oh, I'm begging for strength. I can't hide behind this window of my mind no more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are ready for change in more ways than one. I believe we only have 98 days to go until we're going to get that change, so that'll be a good thing. That was a great postcard. That young chap in the back of your car there held up. That was great. It's still a strange thing for me, though. Even though we've been living in this country for 6 years, it's still a strange thing for me to see someone sitting in the seat that you're sitting in the car and not realise that that's not where the steering wheel is. So it kind of, to me, it just looks like you're in a self-driving car. So this is a song that was on our last album. And particularly coming from Britain, where we're still saddled with a with a moron with a bad hairstyle as well in charge. So before that happened, we've never been a band that's been a political band as such, but we've both of us in our own ways have both always been politically involved and kind of galvanised, particularly around voting time. But it's a very strange and hard thing living in a country where, we have a visa and we can pay tax, but we can't vote. And so, you're always hoping that people are going to be making the right choice for everyone. And when particularly standing back and watching, and I postal vote. I actually get my mother to postal vote for me back in the UK for the UK elections each year, whenever that's been going on. And this was a song that came out around the time of the election. Well, we've actually had 3 general elections in the time since I left the UK, because we've had so much upheaval and turmoil with the Brexit situation, which I won't go into, but It's not a nice thing when you feel like that you're divorcing all of your neighbours for all of the wrong reasons. So this was a song that came out of that sort of situation.
What is it?
This is called "The Revolution Starts Tonight."
I've been running from a fear unknown, and it looks unseen in the place I call home. It's been coming, and the gauntlet's thrown. There's no safety here in the comforts we've known. Do we turn and walk away? Live to fight another day. Can this be the only way? 'Cause you gotta accept that it's happening, come what may. There's a humming, no matter what they say, and it's drowning out all that makes it okay. Do we turn and walk away? Live to fight another day. Can this be the only way? 'Cause you gotta accept that it's happening. So bang the drums and light the lights. Keep those torches burning bright. It's the fuse we must ignite. The revolution starts tonight. I went looking for the danger zone. It's on every street and it's never alone. Do we turn and walk away? Live to fight another day. Can this be the only way? But you gotta accept that it's happening. So bang the drums and light the lights. Keep those torches burning bright. It's the fuse we must ignite. The revolution starts tonight. To feed the machine means your head beneath the guillotine. You have a choice, so lift up your voice. There's no more in between. Woo! So bang the drums and light the lights. Keep those torches burning bright. It's the fuse we must ignite. The revolution starts tonight. Bang the drum, light the light. Keep those torches burning bright. It's the fuse we must ignite. The revolution starts tonight.
Thank you very much. I think that brings us up to our little break time now, I believe.
I think
You
so.
guys have got some other things to listen to, but thanks so much for having us on this evening. It's been great. So great to just to
interact
and see you guys out there and know that you're fighting the good fight. And it's for whatever little part that we can contribute. We're real pleased to be able to be a part of it. So thanks for having us on. It really means a lot.
Yeah, I think we've got about 7 more minutes until our speakers start.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we'll play another song for you.
Cool.
If you'd like that.
Yeah, if that fits in the time in what you've got up your sleeve.
Yeah, you want the instincts?
Okay.
Yeah, we can do another one for you, no problem. This is one of our first songs that we ever started playing together, and it's kind of stuck with us. It's became a bit of a statement sound for us. But thank you for all the lovely comments, by the way, in the chat. We really appreciate you guys enjoying our music and saying nice things. Yeah, this is a song of ours called Instinct.
Right on.
That was only 3 minutes, actually. I thought that was longer.
What, you thought it was a 7-minute song, did you?
Yeah, some 7-minuters.
That was
yeah, thank
perfect,
you. That was
you guys. That was so perfect. Great set ender. We are so excited for the second set.
No, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, and you guys know that that even though you can't vote in the States, you know, you're really doing something to propel us along. And not only did you write some postcards, Ben, and maybe Andrea's going to be coming in on some postcards too. We may recruit her before she knows it, but oh
yeah.
But you're definitely, you know,
okay. I mean, Kelly and I have already signed up to go door to door just to get people to register to vote as well. So from my point of view, I feel that way. It's like, even though we can't vote here, it's still, you can still have that influence. You know, we're all humans. We're all looking towards wanting to affect a difference of change for the best. And I think I think I would feel complicit at this point in my life, particularly considering this political climate that we're living in, to not do anything. So we're grateful to be here.
Well, you're definitely in a great place there in Austin, and if we can swing Texas and you're a part of that, you know, that would be the big enchilada. So
that would be amazing.
Yeah, and by the way, you know, it was Kevin Russell, Shiny Ribs, who originally told us about you guys, and
Right, yeah.
and of course he, you know him through Kelly or maybe, I don't know, but in any case,
That's true. Yeah, no, Kevin's a good friend, and I mean, I think as anyone who knows who's seen him play, anyway, he's such a he's a dynamo. Do you know what I mean? He's one of those people that he's just got so many strings to his bow when it comes to being an entertainer. It's like you first see him and he's almost like a white man, James Brown, but then he'll pull something else out of the hat. And he's an incredible person, but he's so incredibly supportive of the music scene here in Austin. He gets involved in so many ways. He's been very good guy.
We actually opened for Shiny Ribs before Kelly and Ben knew each other. He's been a real supporter of us.
Just of the whole music community, not just it's like as in and from a political standpoint, he always gets involved as well. He's never one who sits on the fence. He really gets out to try and rock the vote. You know, he really does.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be where we are in this postcarding to live music if we had not met Kevin at the outset. So we'll look forward to the second set, you guys. And now we're going to.
Right on, man.
I'm going to toss the ball over to our Envoy colleague, Carla. Carla is going to introduce our speaker for the evening, and we're in for another real treat here as we go into that. So take it away, Carla.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I am both excited and honored to introduce our speaker this evening, Dr. Nolan Higdon. Around this time 2 years ago, he shared with me a list of books, videos, and articles which opened my eyes and which I learned and am still learning so much from. I consider him to be a main driver for the journey that I am now on. Dr. Higdon is an author and university lecturer of history and media studies. His areas of concentration include youth culture, news media history, critical media literacy, and literacy education. He is a published author, and he also co-hosts the Along the Line podcast, and he'll tell you more about himself now.
Hey, all right, thank you very much, Carla, and thank you all for having me on to talk with you guys today. This is great. This is a cool experience. It's nice to follow a music act too. One of the things I miss most from quarantine is concerts. So that's cool to get to hear some jams that actually have some meaning. You know, what I plan on doing tonight is kind of giving you guys an overview of some of my work, which primarily focuses on media, democracy, and community engagement. And I'll speak a little bit about my work and my findings and stuff like that. And then I hope my content can be both interesting and useful. And after I go through that stuff, I'll open it up for some questions for all of you. So I'll start by talking about how I kind of, you know, my research has brought me to understand more about how news media and democracy are intrinsically linked. And then I'll talk about students and what I do in the classroom, how I, you know, promote volunteerism for them to create media for the public, because there's a strong connection between if you teach students to be responsible media producers, they become more responsible media users. So I'll start with the relationship between media and democracy. I often like to talk about a guy named Nicholas Johnson, who was the head of the FCC decades ago at this point. But he wrote this book called Your Second Priority, and he basically said, whatever your first priority is, media better be your second, otherwise no one will ever hear about it. And so what Johnson was kind of arguing was that media is the way we communicate ideas. It's the way we realize bonds and divisions. It's how we illuminate problems and solutions. And if we're talking about democracy and procuring a more strong democracy, we need to focus on news media. And, you know, in summation, a democracy is usually as good as its news media. So if you have a junk news media, you end up having a junk democracy, for example. In the US, we kind of have a unique problem. In the last 3 or 4 decades, we've experienced a huge consolidation of media. We've gone from about 50 corporations controlling our news media down to 6, and there are some mergers on the books that we may end up with 4. So it's reasonable to think in my lifetime we may just end up with like one corporate news media outlet that controls what is considered news in a country of 330 million people. And corporate news is largely focused on profit, not on informing the public. And as a result, they cut things that they see as like pointless costs. So they cut like overseas bureaus, they cut people who used to cover small markets. So if you don't live in a big city like Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta, you don't have news media there on the ground in most cases. And then they also stop reporting on weekends. I always say, God forbid something bad happens on the weekend, you won't find out about it because they don't employ journalists usually to work on weekends. And as they cut these journalism jobs over the last 2 decades, they've increasingly replaced it with more what we call infotainment. I think if any of you were like pro wrestling fans, they treat like the news cycle like good guys versus bad guys, and they have, they lampoon each other. You can think back to like the Bill O'Reilly, Keith Olbermann war of the 21st century, where 2 overpaid gentlemen sort of attacked each other day in and day out to boost ratings. That's like, somewhat entertaining, just like pro wrestling, but it's not really helpful in you deciding how to vote or what policies to support or what's going on in your country. And this also has gone into like the newspapers as well. Increasingly, the newspapers are treating like the op-ed page like a preach to the choir type scenario rather than introducing controversial ideas. So we get less and less of a picture of what's actually going on in our world is what's happening with corporate news media. And there's been these like ginormous failures of news media. I mean, think back to like the weapons of mass destruction in 2003. You literally had almost three-fourths of the United States concluding that Saddam Hussein had procured weapons of mass destruction, which was, absolutely false. And 25% of people still believe it today, even though the Defense Department has admitted that the weapons didn't exist, those hippies. There's also ginormous media failures when it came to like the financial collapse of 2008, especially when it came to like the solutions. The news media hammered this idea that it would be moral hazard to bail out the working class, yet we spent trillions of dollars to bail out industry, and somehow that wasn't moral hazard. And most recently the 2016 election with Donald Trump, the coverage there, it talked about Hillary's appeal compared to Trump on a national scale, which she clearly had, and the votes demonstrate that. But in a lot of the swing states, there was a lot of anti-Hillary Clinton sentiment. And in fact, Hillary Clinton didn't even go into Michigan for the most part toward the end of the election. And polls showed on the ground that she was not responding, at least in voters' minds, to the issues that mattered to them. But the media missed this kind of ginormous story in that sense. So those kind of failures, I think, illustrate why people already had a bad taste in their mouth. Congress is like the only institution that generally has a lower approval rating than the press in the United States. And that's kind of astounding considering the fact that we're in a democracy. We depend on Congress, like it or hate it, and the press as well. So in walks sort of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, one of the brilliant things of his campaign is that he made the news media an enemy, which you'd think a democratic people would kind of revolt against, but the press had put such a bad taste in Americans' mouths that there was enough of the electorate that kind of agreed with him, or at least saw where he was coming from. And this got to that fake news epithet that he used. He basically weaponized the phrase fake news to denounce any reporting that he found inconvenient or problematic. And he was not the only one who's doing this. Duterte is doing this in the Philippines right now. Adolf Hitler did this with a similar phrase, Lugenpress, during World War II. So there's a long history of this, and I'm a history geek, so I'll keep going into the historical examples. But nonetheless, when Trump kind of weaponized the fake news phrase, to be quite honest with all of you, I was somewhat excited because I had talked about problems in news media for a decade by that point, and I was like, okay, finally we'll actually get a conversation about problems with news media. But of course, his weaponizing of the phrase on the right was buttressed up against his opponents, who really focused on fake news just in terms of like conservative news websites and Donald Trump and the Russians, which all do produce and have disseminated fake news. But to truly understand the phenomena, you need to understand it's kind of like a much larger problem in a democracy, i.e. if you get rid of these conservative news websites, or you get rid of Russia, or you get rid of Trump, the problem will still persist. It still threatens the democracy. And you saw this in the solutions, and this is something I would highlight for folks, and I'm happy to discuss, but some of the solutions to dealing with fake news, I think actually will make the problem worse. Like, there's a lot of corporations who desperately want to get into the classroom to teach students how to use media, but they see it as an opportunity to collect data and get students used to using their tools. And it's that very data collection and tools that have made fake news such an interesting problem in the 21st century. Also, a lot of like corporate journalists who were responsible for the fake news problem, they're saying that now somehow they're the solution to fake news. And I'm also opposed to lists, like this news outlet is good and this news outlet is bad. There's something very like McCarthyite about making lists. I have much more faith in the education system. I believe individuals have the capability to determine what's false from what's true if they know what to look for. And so that's kind of where my research largely rests, is looking at that stuff, and that's my publications have been on. And in the classroom, I sort of work with students to, like I said, understand democracy, its relation to media, and produce media. And I always talk to them about like Winston Churchill's quote that, you know, democracy is the worst system, but it's better than all the rest that have been tried from time to time. And that is that democracy is, you know, it's worth fighting for. It's a constant job. And so in the classroom, I engage students with democracy and media, and I have students make media as well. We just made a documentary, and students worked to go out and perform interviews and things like that with experts on fake news. And I'll send out a link about that, but it's a free documentary. Where they got to learn about the documentary making process. I have them help on podcasts. They work with Project Censored, which is a great volunteer organization. Some of you may be interested in Project Censored. It collects stories that are reported in independently funded presses, but ignored in the corporate press. And students in classroom find these stories, they vet them with experts, and then they're published online for the public and in annual books. So that's some of the stuff I do in the classroom, and that's some of the research I've done. I'll sort of leave it there. I think that's a good summary of kind of the work I've done or my interests. I'm much more interested in kind of talking with you guys than talking at you guys. So I'll answer any questions if you have them now.
So I do have a question. So we hear all this, and I can definitely see, even myself as just kind of a lay person, kind of the destruction of our media and the mistrust of our media, and how that's kind of purposely been happening. So what are some of the things that we can do as citizens, or what can we do to educate ourselves so we can get past this and rise above it?
Good question. Yeah, I don't think you know, it's not necessarily all sort of doom and gloom. There is good journalism being done out there, but it can be difficult to find. This is kind of one of the weird problems of the 21st century. At the same time, people have more access to good journalism more than ever in human history. It's more difficult to find ever than in human history. Right. But finding, you know, like good journalists who have built a long history and a good rapport, such as, you know, like, I don't know, folks like Matt Taibbi comes to mind, for example, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Abby Martin, Glenn Greenwald, and I can share some of these names with you as well. But finding those kind of good journalists who have good rapport and over time have been correct, even when they've gone against like the status quo. Sometimes, you know, media is a group of professionals, and they start to kind of believe their own homogenized view. Paying attention to those people who speak outside and end up getting proven right later, that's a really, you know, valuable skill and something to admire in some of these folks. I also encourage people to avoid news inflation. So more is not better. You know, don't try and wake up in the morning and read as many headlines as possible and share as many articles as you can on social media. Spend quite an amount of time with like individual articles or news broadcasts. asking questions about like, what is the evidence they actually do have? What other voices could potentially be included that are not? And you know, as you go through that kind of process, I would always be weary of unnamed sources. Like unnamed government sources is like a red flag for me. Because, you know, the government's huge. There's hundreds of thousands of employees. So where do these people work? You know, who are they? Do they have any history of political agenda? If I don't know that, I'm pretty scared to kind of depend on them for the news story. So I think asking those kinds of questions can be crucial. The same way you kind of evaluate the author of the piece, also evaluate the news outlet. You know, news outlets, if they have a long history of reporting fake news or false content, then they're probably not worth your time. So look up kind of, you know, the history of those as well. Those would be some of the kind of ones off the top of my head. As far as what you can do as like a layperson, I always start my classes on fake news talking about journalism. I find that we jump in to want to find fake news, but we don't know what journalism looks like. So I think spending some time with like the basics of journalism, what journalists do, and then determining if the content you're looking at fits that model or not can be really helpful.
Okay, awesome. It looks like we do have a question. Stacy, is that from you about the chart? Do you want to chime in and ask that question? Or Sierra?
Hi, Nolan. I'm Stacy. Thanks so much. I don't know if you're familiar with the chart, Vanessa Otero, the bias versus I'm sure you are familiar with it. I know that my kids, Sierra and Carson's high school teachers, have showed them this chart to kind of discern between biased and unbiased media. And the chart's been updated for the last few years, but I just wondered your thoughts because I also share it online with folks that I notice produce biased media, you know, left or right. And I just wondered about what you thought about that. And also if you follow, are you on Twitter? I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you follow Seth Abramson and what you think about curatorial news. So I'll mute now. Thanks.
Oh, no, really good questions for sure. That's good insider baseball stuff. I like it. The chart on bias. Let's say I'm supportive of having a chart on bias. I'm supportive of using a chart on bias in the classroom, largely because I do. So that's my own bias. But the idea that you can ever hit objectivity is a crucial kind of sticking point that some journalistic outlets have with people like me who are critics of media. I personally do not believe objectivity is possible. I believe you're always going to have some bias in there, and that's okay. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. It's when your bias blocks certain sources, cherry picks certain sources, or you try and hide it and treat it as objective, right? We can remember Fox News in the 1990s, right? They said they were fair and balanced, and we report, you decide. That was covering up their strong bias for the Republican Party and conservative agenda. So I think that's when it becomes problematic. But I think we should all kind of wear our bias on our sleeve at some level and admit, who we are, and that can also open up us to our own blind spots, including journalists. And to be honest, and I said this earlier, but that's why the op-ed page used to exist. It was to check the bias of an institution. So you would purposely bring in views that were way outside of the mainstream as a way to check your own bias and the bias of your readers. As far as curating content, I'm a big proponent of this. I think that one of the things that's been lacking in journalism, especially in the last 20 years, is context. And I know this from being a young person reading media and now being a teacher working with young folks, that they read an article, or I may read an article, but if I don't have context, I don't really understand the importance of it or the historical precedent for it. And if you're missing that, I don't think you truly understand the story being told. And by curating this content and building these narratives over time, I think you do a really great service to a democracy and a very great service to news users. So I'm a big proponent of it.
So I was hoping you could talk a little bit, Nolan, about Project Censored, what it is, why it would appeal, especially to younger people, and how your students get involved in making YouTube movies about Project Censored, and kind of just expand on that a little bit.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, Project Censored started in 1976 by this guy, Carl Jensen, who worked at Sonoma State University. And the origin of it was that the Watergate story got reported on by these corporate papers, but about 3 or 4 years before Watergate broke, the independent press had already covered it. And so Jensen wondered, like, well, what are we missing now? And so he sent out his students to go out into, I see we have a Sonoma State grad, nice. He sent out his students to look what was being covered in the independent press that was ignored in the corporate press. And he said this stuff was censored. And so that idea has now expanded in the decades since, and students across the country, they are in classrooms learning about the difference between who funds news media and the different bias. And they go look for stories in the independent press that are not covered in the corporate press. And then when they find a story, they have experts vet it, and then it's nominated online. There's usually about 300 to 500 nominated a year, and the top 25 are put into an annual book. And the other students work on like a deja vu chapter, so they go back and look 3, 4, 5, sometimes 15 years later to see if the story was ever covered, and sometimes it is. And then my favorite chapter, which I worked on for years, I just stepped down a couple of years ago, was junk food news, which is Jensen. He got a lot of pushback from people in media. They said, it's not that we censor stories, it's that we don't have time to cover everything. And Jensen said, yeah, but the stuff you do cover is not newsworthy. And he called it junk food news, Twinkies for the brain. So every year I used to compare what wasn't covered to what was covered. And it would be that these newsworthy stories in the independent press were ignored so they could follow the runaway Prius or the Kardashians and all that kind of nonsense. So the book still comes out every year and students work on that. There's documentaries made off it. Video shorts are made about the stories and podcasts. And Carla's rocking a copy right there. So yeah, it's a great thing. It's a nonprofit, and they do a ton of great work, public events, and it's been an honor to be a part of it. And I think a lot of like what you folks are doing here and what they do there, there's a lot of overlap.
So somebody asked a question here about whether you support legislation to restore the FCC fairness doctrine.
Yes, I'm a proponent of the fairness doctrine. I don't think it'll solve all issues, but it'll solve many. And for folks who don't know, until 1987, if you had a news outlet that criticized a particular view, you had to pay or give equal time and space for an opposing view to counter what you said. And the idea was that balanced discourse would benefit a democracy. We got rid of that in 1987. The year Rush Limbaugh hit the airwaves. And now there's really no mechanism to kind of force people to have any sort of balance or alternative views on their network. So I think that would be great. Looking ahead, social media has not been regulated, but because it was believed that it's an independent entity and people post on it. But now that social media companies are regulating content, I could see an argument being made for like a fairness doctrine being applied to social media companies coming down the line. So I think, I'm not sure who asked that question, but I think that'll be a hot button issue in the years ahead for sure.
So I have another question that I was thinking of as you're talking, because I'm always like, what can we do? What can we do? So if, we want, the clickbaits, the headlines that, like you said, it's not the important news. It's not the stuff that's really happening. It's the way we consume the news. What can we do? I mean, do we just turn off these news stations and not fall into this trap of being fed these clickbaits and, these fancy headlines that really mean nothing, while all the important stuff is getting swept under the rug? Like, what is there anything we can do as kind of a collaborative group to kind of push journalists and media to give us better, just give us better?
Yeah. I think your question's, again, well-founded. I am a believer that you would probably be better served not watching like broadcast 24-hour news, and you'd probably be better served like drastically limiting use of social media, particularly for information. And I've gone into this in my recent book, but I'll summarize this. But it's the economics of the internet are ones that are supposed to distract and draw your attention, to collect data, so they can use that data to get a profile of you, to predict and, if possible, direct your behavior. And that's just not conducive to kind of free thinking. We find that people, and this is all people regardless of education or background, tend to have our views reinforced. And so the internet, to keep us on our screen, keeps telling us you're right. So if you believed Barack Obama was like a Kenyan socialist sent to destroy America, Google is more likely to have articles come up that make that same claim for you than they are to give the millions that debunk it, because that'll keep you on your screen and keep you going. So I think kind of what I said earlier, accessing those strong journalists, limiting the bad content, and then also consider democratic oversight. Like right now, tech corporations are the ones who are deciding what's true and what's false and what can and can't get posted. We have no democratic oversight over that. And I would like some democratic oversight over the mechanisms that inform my democracy. And so pushing leaders, elected leaders, to reimagine what the state can do to support democracy, I think could be very important as well.
Very cool. Well, I thank you so much, especially as you being a teacher and teaching this to our younger generation, because I have a psychology background, and so it's almost like it's feeding, like you said, you like to be told that you're right and that your views are center, and so we're almost have to combat human nature to even get through this. And so starting with education at a young age, I think is so important. So thank you for going into that field and doing that work. So much appreciated.
Thank you so much. You guys are an awesome group. I really appreciate the opportunity, and my contact info is up there. If anybody wants to email for more, or find me on social media, that kind of stuff, I'm happy to help out, send resources, and talk more. Thanks again, everybody.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Yay, that was great.
Thank you, Nolan.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. So Carla, you want to go ahead and introduce Beetroot Revival again? I think we're right about that time.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You want me to introduce them or Scott? So confused.
That's okay. They're here. Ben and Andrea need no introduction at this point. They're family.
Our light went out, actually. That's what it was. I've actually got, it's so funny how during this this lockdown period, both Andrea's house and my house, they've basically turned into mobile TV studios, as in like, we try and set up different areas from which to do our live streams from. And I've got a live stream coming up on Friday where I decided to sort of shake it up a little bit, because obviously so many musicians are doing live streams at the moment, and it's a strange thing when you feel like you're kind of trying to compete for an audience, and none of it's competitive. You just want to be able to connect with people at this moment in time. That's really the essence of it all. But it's that thing of where you go, oh, there's 10 of my other friends who are all doing things at the same time. So we kind of all got to try these different things. So Friday I'm going to start one every 2 weeks where I perform a whole classic album. So this week's one I'm going to do the whole of Neil Young's Harvest.
Yeah.
But what it is, I've taken over my front room. I've moved the instruments that were in my little bedroom setup into the front room. Hence why where you're seeing us from is the less cluttered part. It's kind of just got my kitchen in the background. But it's because the rest of my room has just been taken over. It's like I don't have a living room anymore. We just have these pop-up TV sets, and the same with Andrea's house. She's got like 3 different spots in her house.
So we're gonna change it up for our next Beetroot one, because we've done so many like remodeling of our own houses that we're actually gonna take it out. Our friend has a ranch out in Dripping Springs, and we're gonna do a sunset one on August the 14th, where we're gonna play in front of this beautiful sunset. weather permitting.
It allows us to do that and still stay socially distanced because his ranch is luckily a big sort of place.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll stop talking and play some more
song.
music and give you some entertainment. But thanks for having us as a part of this. It's real great to be involved in something where you guys are really on the ground and doing that grassroots work that's really going to make a difference. And I know we always say it before every election, but I actually think that during this last 4 years, I never thought it was going to get as bad as it has gotten politically. So it's like we always say before every election, this is going to be the most important election of our lives. I actually think this next one is going to be the most important election of our lives, because this is going to be the thing that makes the difference between another 4 years of pedaling backwards or actually another 4 years of making some progress and actually having a decent human being in the White House again. So we're pleased to be entertaining you guys because you're doing that hard work that's making that difference. So what song would you like to play?
Good eye. Freedom Wind.
No, we're going to do this one. We're going to do one that we wrote together.
I suggested to, and he doesn't neither.
we're gonna do one that we wrote together. This is one called "Reasons to Believe."
Oh.
You got me wondering what a movie's coming next. 'Cause I know you're here with me, but we can't seem to connect. And it wasn't always like this, and now my heart, it holds regret. It felt so different when I had nobody to neglect. Searching high, searching low, searching everywhere I go, just to find another reason to believe. Ask me why, I don't know, depends which way the river flows. So for now, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So many people say, you ask, you will receive. Well, if that's really true, then who's listening to me? If it's between you and me, no one else can understand. I tried to read the signs, but there's no wish I can command. Searching high, searching low, searching everywhere I go, just to find another reason to believe. Ask me why, I don't know, depends which way the river flows. So for now, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I had the answer, but it seemed to slip away. So now I'm standing here without a word to say. Woo!
much. Those postcards were beautiful.
So beautiful.
Right on, what do you want to do next?
Freedom Wind?
That was our song, wasn't it? That was my one, wasn't
No,
it?
I sang it.
We try and do this diplomatic thing where we go back and forth. We do like, she does a song, I do a song. She does a song, I do a song.
And we're not agreeing on each other's songs.
And it's funny. I think it's funny. One or the other of us sometimes tries to wriggle out of it and goes, "Oh, you sing another song. No, you sing. You've got it. You're doing great." And it's like, I see what's going on here. So this is a song that was again on our most recent record, and we were lucky enough to get to work with Paul Leary as he was Scott was saying earlier on. That was again another fortuitous meeting, really. Through we met a record label in California that only deal with legacy acts or acts that have already got a long-term sort of standing already within the music industry, and but they sort of took a chance on us to kind of manage us and help us along the way, you know. But really, the most important thing that's come out of it is that we've been able to establish some really great relationships, and it bolsters us and allows us to maintain our visa and gives us a little bit more strength to be able to stay in the country each time when the visa comes up to justify being here. And so we met Paul through that label, and Paul is another Austinite, and considering that he was in a real hardcore punk band called the Butthole Surfers, for those of you who don't know about him, he's actually one of the quietest, most gentle men that you could ever meet. For someone who's responsible for such hardcore, in-your-face kind of music at times, you know, and he's worked with everyone from like Sublime through to Daniel Johnston, real kind of like dissident or discordant things at times. And he was such a gentle and sweet guy, and he really did bring the best out of us. And considering, you know, when you've been working together so as closely as Andrea and I have for the last 6 years, it is like being family to that degree, especially when you've come out the other side of a romantic relationship as well. So this is one of the songs that ended up on the record that we made with Paul, and it's called Freedom Wind.
There's a silence in the sound, but everything that goes up must come down. For freedom wind, wash over me, my only friend. Please stand with me Please stand with me.
Thank you.
What do you want to do?
Well, you just picked a guitar up, so you know what you want to do.
Want to try the new one, or do you want to do the?
Let's do Love Doesn't Live Here.
Okay. So this was the last song from that album that Ben just talked about with Paul Leary. Kind of just talking about our experiences through these last 6 years, closing the album out, talking about the transitions that we have made in Beetroot Revival. And it's you can get that album on all those streaming things if you do want to follow our music in any way. This is a song called Love Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Are we in the right key? D?
Yeah.
We found
guys.
Oops. Sorry. Did I cover your face with the guitar? That was
Totally,
my
yeah.
eyes. Sorry.
I like watching the screen as well and see what's going
Yeah.
on. These postcards are beautiful. Really great. Well, this is a song that I wrote a few years ago. It was during our first couple of years in the United States, and we'd settled as a home base in Austin, but we were still out on the road a hell of a lot of the time, and you know, from city to city in different states every few days. This was a song that I wrote in the aptly named Heartbreak Hotel. I kid you not, it is across the road from Graceland in Memphis. One of their major selling points is that they do boast a 24-hour Elvis movie channel. So if you do want to get your fix of GI Blues or a Jailhouse Rock, that is the place to go stay. But no, I woke up in the middle of the night and scribbled down the words to this just to finish it off, and it was one of those songs that, you know, those things that you sometimes carry around with you a long time, whether it be a song, a poem, a picture, you know, whatever it is, that elusive little bit that just doesn't come. And it took us going through some harder things personally, which in the grand scheme of things we didn't go through anything hard, you know what I mean, but just all relative to the experience that you're having at the time when you're 4,500 miles away from home and not sure whether the bag of ones that you've got are going to sustain you to the end of the week. And each time that you go into the supermarket, you can't, you know, you get questionable looks because you're paying in ones, and the cashier's looking at me all the time as though, how can he be making this many ones from stripping? But when I definitely wasn't. But this is a song that it's come to mean more to me now that we've established a long period of time in Austin, because we're so very fortunate, like lots of groups, and particularly it seems to be something that runs through American culture wherever we've gone. Such a loyal bunch of people, the ones that really, you know, subscribe and get on board to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, and the people that have made it possible for us to stay here and to carry on doing what it is that we love have really been the reason why we are still here, you know, in more ways than one. But this song came about really and came to mean more because there was a certain lady who used to come to all of our shows, come rain or shine, and you know, the shows where there would be, you know, 100+ people there, or the shows where it would be like 3 people and their, you know, 3 men and their dog, and you know, it. And this lady came to every show. She was so supportive of us, and unfortunately we lost her just last year. At least on the human plane, and in her bodily plane. But I know that she's still floating around above us, waving the celestial tip jar around, as she always used to do at our shows. And so every time we play this song, I think of my good friend Joy Simon. And she was a very staunch Democrat her whole life, and she'd really be getting on board and approving of what everyone's doing to try and make everything better at this point in time politically. So I'm going to play it for her. This is a song called Hold On. You can find the broken pieces of your heart. Maybe I can recommend some helpful places you might start. In that pile of letters that you said you'd thrown away lie the deepest honesties you ever wished to say, hiding for so long, like a song that you no longer play. You're drawing conclusions that suggest you'll never work this out.
Or may I offer remedy to deal with all this nagging doubt? History and memory are seldom the same thing. One man's recollection to another means nothing. Anecdotes to share, but can you know if you aren't really there? I can't just tell you all the things you want to hear, for I've seen long goodbyes where months turn into years. And I know pain can't be extinguished with a tear, but you must try to just hold on. Along the road there's still a chance you'll stumble and you'll fall. Colliding with each hurdle, the last option is to crawl. Glory or defeat, or do you stand and fight or just retreat? I can't just tell you all the things you want to hear, for I've seen long goodbyes where months turn into years. And I know pain can't be extinguished with a tear, but you must try to just hold on. If you don't think that you can find the broken pieces of your heart, maybe I can recommend some helpful places you might start. Thank you, guys. I think we've got time for like one more.
Yeah, one more song. Is that good?
One more for you. Is that good? Yeah.
Cool.
Well, again, I know.
Yes, please. We could hear you for the next few hours, but yes, one more, please.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
It's so nice to see so many of you, and hopefully we can come back and play for you guys again at some point.
Yes, we will definitely take you up on that, and kind of what I know I have dogs running around the background.
Yeah, I love it.
What we kind of experience and talk about each week is how we as individuals need to find, what our superpower is or what our skills are. And, just like our artists on here, that's their niche and that's what they find. And so you guys as artists being able to come here and play for us and just put joy into our hearts as we're reaching out to unregistered voters in Texas. It just, every Tuesday night is like one of my favorite nights, and you guys have definitely brought the energy and the hope and the inspiration and know that that's your superpower is to be able to spread that joy when people need it really badly right now. So thank you again for coming on here and joining us.
I think for us it's that nice thing as well to kind of you find that at the hardest of times and at the darkest of times, sometimes we're handed these opportunities. And at the moment, it feels like on a real primal level, it just feels like we've been handed these opportunities to be able to connect with people that in other circumstances we may not have had the opportunity to connect with before, And so I think even when it's at its worst, whether it be politically, whether it be economically, any of those things, the beauty of it is that hopefully you always hope that the humanity in all of us is one of those things that you hope shines through, because and this proves it. The fact that you guys have gotten together and have been so emphatic in making a difference, and it inspires us too, because obviously we'd gotten on tonight, and you have a thing every week where when we're coming up to live streams or whatever they are, and sometimes you feel like doing them, sometimes you're just feeling a little bit crappy just because of everything that's been going on, and so we feel the same. You guys have given us a good stimulus of energy and positivity tonight, so we really appreciate coming on and playing for you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to put Sharon on the spot really quick one more time, because I keep doing this, Sharon. So Sharon is the one from Southampton, and so she had a question for you guys.
Oh, right on. Hey, Sharon.
Hiya. which part of England were you originally from? And which
So
part
I'm
of
from,
Ireland?
I'm from Kent. I'm from a town called Maidstone in Kent, about 50 miles outside of London.
Yeah, I know it.
I mean, I'd prefer to have lived in Southampton because I think the farther up the country you go, the nicer the people get.
Oh, thank you.
Well, no, but I think you'll know that's true. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it seems that the southeast, particularly, we have earned our reputation as the stiff upper lip kind of thing, the ones who don't seem to show any emotion. Whereas it seems the farther up the country you get, the nicer the people are and the more expressive they are. So,
yes. And I can't place your accent from Ireland.
Oh, right.
Andrea.
I think it's definitely softened a little bit because I haven't got to go home. But I'm actually from the north. I'm from Belfast.
I thought there was a northern twang, but
since it's been so long since I got home, it gets softer. But when I get home, it'll be Christmas probably the next time I go home. Hopefully, it gets so strong, and I come back and no one understands me here for the first couple of weeks. So I think I have to soften it so that people aren't just like, "What's she saying?"
Okay.
But yeah.
Whereas I think I've become more English. It's kind of strange. I think I've ended up sounding more and more, and that's probably because Kelly and I binge watched The Crown recently, and then I'll find myself. I'll end up finding myself talking. I sound more like I'm from London in the 1950s than at any other point in my life. You know, like, makes no sense at all. It's nice to meet you anyway. Nice to see you all.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, fantastic. So cool, and you know, she lives in Southampton, so there's a lot of things she can't do to help out here, you know, phone banking or writing postcards. And so she has come into our Envoy organization and just done so much great behind the scenes work, helping people get addresses, help organize their data. And so it's inspiring and kind of goes back to that message of find what you can do and just go for it and just do it. No apologies and just make it work. And so
absolutely, especially with the beauty of technology now, the fact that we can do this so effectively and that we can all be on this screen at the same time in a way that 20 years ago this was just a pipe dream. You know, it's that. I mean, I think there's an old man inside me always that's crying to get out, but these are the parts of technology that I really do love. The fact that it allows us all to stay connected at a time like this.
Right.
You know, if we didn't have the internet at a time like this with this pandemic going on and politically the way things are, I think people would be in a far worse position than we are, at least on a personal and mental health level. So it's great, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And how I just love how the creativity is coming out, because you have to think outside the box on how you can come together, how you can still do work because we're in a political cycle. So there's some silver linings. I try to find them as much as I can.
Absolutely. There's a great quote from a song by a great songwriter here, Ray Wiley Hubbard. He's got a great line at the end of one of his songs where he says, "The days where I keep my gratitude higher than my expectations, I have really great days."
Right.
And I try and live by that as much as I possibly can. You know,
that's powerful.
Like find the silver lining in every cloud. You know.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna close it out with another song from our most recent album. This is not our song, but we did a cover of it, and our management actually made a really powerful music video for it. So if you want to check it out, I think you guys might appreciate it. It's on our YouTube channel, and it's our version of a Thunderclap Newman song called "Something in the Air," and there's definitely something in the air right now. So we'll send you off with that. If you guys want to join us on August the 14th, that's the next time we'll be on screens on our Facebook.
And I'll be on July 31st doing my Neil Young album. So come and see me mangle some Neil Young songs.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Instigators, because there's something in the air. We've got to get together sooner or later, because the revolution's here, and you know it's right. because there's something in the air. We got to get together sooner or later, because the revolution's here, and you know it's right. And you know that it's right. We have got to get it together. We have got to get it together now. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. We're gonna find our way through here. We got to get together sooner or later, because the revolution's here, and you know it's right. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Thank you all so much. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys
all.
keep fighting the good fight. 98 more days.
98 more days. Yes, yes. Thank you guys again for joining us. That was just magical.
No, thank you.
Always welcome to come back. Always welcome to come and write postcards if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
And listen.
I know Kelly and I are probably up for doing some more.
Right. Maybe not the paint by number one.
Yeah. Yeah. I really made a mistake. I really made a mistake with that one.
We absolutely love Kelly.
You learn what your strengths are, and mine definitely were not paint by numbers.
Right. Yeah, Kelly had shared that story on Saturday when she was with us for a special event, and we just absolutely love her. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, she's pretty great.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night, and we'll definitely.
Thank you, Carrie. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Scott.
Take care.
Really nice to meet you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
You're
Sharon.
welcome.
Nice to meet you all. Thanks for your lovely comments.
Yeah, yes, and you guys just keep up the good fight. I love the way you've faced, your fears and made this transition together, and you faced your fears to come across the pond. I know that Andrea left a career as a teacher, and went for it, and so my hat is off to you guys. So we're so happy to have connected with you both.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks a lot, man.
Really appreciate it.
You guys take care.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. We're gonna check in real quick with our artist. Sierra, are you there to kind of just check in and say hello real quick?
Hello.
Hello. So show us some of your postcards. We've been watching on the cam, but they're amazing.
Of course. Are you guys looking at my mom's camera or
Yeah,
my?
I think it's yours.
The one I'm talking to?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's on your face, yeah.
Well, this is one of my favorites right here. It's mountains with some trees.
Oh, that's so cool.
I haven't written on this one yet, but I will. This is a bike with some flowers. A city
Love that one.
that I did write on. This little window.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Amazing.
I think the others were shown quite a bit, but yeah, we got some clouds. And currently I'm working on a solar system type thing, but it doesn't have much detail yet. So.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much for doing that. Keeping these postcards as grassroots as possible and putting our personal touches makes a huge difference. Because I know when I see those glossy campaign ones, I kind of toss them in the garbage because it just doesn't have any love behind it. And so we are making a difference by handwriting them, by putting any kind. We saw great ideas from Kristy tonight of just putting some little extra special touch on it. Some people get stickers and put on there. And so it makes a difference. People want to hold on to those. And then they see that reminder that they do need to get registered to vote. So thank you. Thank you so very much. And thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week too. I'm excited. All right, Amanda, let's check in with you real quick. I know we showed your art on there today. If you just want to show that again real quick, just hold it up.
Sure. I gotta walk back over. I went to the comfy chair. Actually, it's probably better lighting on the art camera, but that's okay. So here's my finished piece today.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes. I have super enjoyed just the last little bit watching Sierra work so fast. I'm very impressed. And you were like, oh, we've already seen this. I hadn't seen those because I was not looking during that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
cool.
I love having multiple artists on to just showcase everybody's skills and talents and their take on things. And
awesome music and
yeah, I know. It's my favorite.
Sierra, do you have social media to share? Or do you not social media, or do you not post art? Or
I just put it in the chat. It's on
Great.
my Instagram is CCBethwood. But yeah, it's in the chat.
Perfect. I will follow you.
And we'll make sure we
we love getting to connect people in general, and getting to connect Sierra and Amanda makes my day.
Yeah. So Kristy, do you want to show off your work? Are you still out there? I don't get to see the good view.
I didn't see Kristy. I was looking for her. I think Kristy might have had to run.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, there she is. Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so how did it go tonight?
I have a lot done. But that's my most recent. But
Ooh, I like that.
I'm not an artist, but it's fun.
Yeah, and no, you're doing perfect because it just showcases that you can have any kind of talent and make it personable, and make it look authentic. And that's what we're looking for. It doesn't have to be some great artwork, which obviously we have a lot of talent here today, including yourself. It's all about the creativity of making it your own. And so thank you for showing off your work and kind of giving, people just a view of all of it, and getting involved. Yeah, what are you doing? Jazz hands for everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you guys so much for joining us. Another great evening. I have some numbers to share because it's always so fun to share this. And so 2 weeks ago, 10,000 postcard writing. So that was 2 weeks ago tonight. And so now I'm excited to let you know that we just started our fourth list. And the lists average anywhere from 5,000 to 6,500 addresses. And so in 2 weeks total, we are now from 10,000 to 15,037 postcards written. So we had a huge jump in just 2 weeks. So you guys, we're making this happen. And the way we're going to just blow that number out of the water, because it's never good enough, because we have so much work to do, is to invite your friends. They can come every Tuesday. We have postcard writing virtual party on Saturday where we just chat and hang out and kind of talk about what's going on. And then we also have You can independent write anytime. It makes me proud when I see postcards from our envoys writing while they're on vacation. So they're on the road and they're still writing postcards, and it's so amazing. So we don't need to stop. We're just getting started. We're just warming up. So invite your friends, and it's so easy to do because just send them to envoysforhumanity.org/postcarding. And that will take them right to the site where they can independent write, or they can join our virtual events. And so again, envoysforhumanity.org/postcarding. So invite 3 friends, invite 10 friends, invite 50 friends. And let's see how large a number that we can do, because we have until October 5th, if I believe correctly, until the registration ends in Texas. And so we got time to push those numbers up and reach those voters. So thank you again, everybody, our musical guests, our speaker, our artists. It's just, each week it's just better and just more amazing, and my heart gets more full, and I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you guys all here again, same time, same channel. So thank you so much. And also remember to share so we can help spread the word. Share your postcard pictures on social media. On all the medias, we're at the Envoy Way. And just a reminder to cover up the addresses when you do that. So, but any way you can get creative to continue to get the word out there. So people, I'm seeing all this that you're tagging, and I'm loving that people are interested in how do I do it? How do I do it? And that's how we're going to grow this movement, is just to continue to get the word out there. So thank you guys so much, and enjoy your night. I'm going to turn off all the live stuff, and then we're going to be here for a couple of minutes. But if you need to go, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.